look at anything.
Just don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Start it up.
Yeah.
Alright, we're
Like
live
me.
now.
Just like me having a decent conversation, just that's all you do.
Huh. I just started it as we were saying that, so it would be as natural as possible.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Blithesome Wisdom channel. Today's extra special guest, his name is George. It's an honor to have him on. Let's get to know him a little bit, and then I'm going to pick his mind about life and the universe, aliens, just those odd taboo subjects, and just a little bit of a disclaimer, a 411, a forewarning. If you are a religious person, please click away. We're not going to argue with people about any of it or even get into the subject. What we talk about is more scientific and could very well offend a very religious person, and we don't intend to do that or intend to tread on anybody. These are just opinions and a conversation between two people, so I expect you all to respect that if you stick around. And anyways, to move on, hey George, what's going on, bud?
Hey Jason.
Thanks for coming over.
You're welcome.
So we're gonna get to know you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, like, where are you from? How old are you? What's a little bit of your life's journey? Good.
Well, I'm 41 years old. I grew up in Dupree, South Dakota. About 5 or 6, we moved off the reservation of Eagleville and came and grew up in Pierre our whole lives.
Wow, so you've never left South Dakota?
Well, actually, technically, at the age of 23, I did leave South Dakota to Arizona and all that part of the states.
Oh, what were you doing in Arizona?
Living with my aunties.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
So you have traveled a little bit.
Yeah.
Right on. You have any kids?
I got 2.
Heck yeah.
I got a 14-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old son.
Wow. Dang. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I'm waiting for one of them guys to make me a grandpa. Seriously, I am, man.
Are you excited for it, or are you kind of like, oh, please don't do it yet?
Yeah, I'm like, God, please don't do it yet. I'm too young to be a grandpa.
Shit. Well, I can kind of somewhat relate. Very, very similar situation. I'm like, please, please don't make me a grandpa before I'm 40 years old.
Yeah.
So, I'm 31, and I was born in Utah. I've actually lived all over the place. I was born in American Fork, Utah. By the time I was about 3 or 4, I had moved to a place called Rachel, Nevada. I actually lived on a farm where my stepdad was a pivot mechanic. Do you know what pivots are?
No.
So they're the giant-ass fucking sprinklers that they go across the
those
fields.
sprinklers?
Yeah, those are called pivots.
Uh-huh.
And so my stepdad worked on those in this farm in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere, Nevada. And it's crazy because I shit you not, we literally lived on the borderline fence line of Area 51. You could see the mountains it was based in.
Can you see the aliens?
We saw some crazy things, and my mom will tell me some things, because I was super small, you know, 4 or 5. My mom will share some memories with me that, you know, I ask her about, and she goes, yeah, this is what happened that night, because I'm trying to piece it together, and my little mind didn't know what was going on. I mean, even crazy shit like green lights. Like, it was pretty cool. And then, have you ever seen the movie Paul?
Who?
The movie Paul?
No.
So it's an old alien movie that Seth Rogen made. No? Oh man, you gotta watch it. By the way, Paul's a good movie. Check it out. There's a gas station in Paul that is an alien-themed gas station, and they are, you know, chasing Area 51 stuff. It's a real gas station.
Really?
So it was actually about 2.5 miles away from my farmhouse.
Yeah.
It was the only thing within like 100 miles, might as well. But it was literally the only thing I could interact with while living in the middle of nowhere. And I would ride my bike 2.5 miles down to the gas station and back just for something to fucking do as a kid. And I've actually truly been to that gas station. It really is alien themed, and everything there is alien involved. And there's just this lady that works there that's fucking awesome, or at least when I was a kid there was, and I would go there fucking every weekend riding my bike.
You had a more awesome childhood than I did, man.
Fuck you, mine was just in the middle of nowhere. It might like
Damn.
sound cool, but it was lame as fuck.
I want a childhood like that. Really, I would. That'd be cool.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
It's unique growing up in the middle of the nowhere. Like, I just remembered this very vivid image of walking out my front door, and it's just flat desert land with all this like forest vegetation, and off way in the fucking distance are the giant Sierra Nevada mountains, and it's just beautiful. It's like a different kind of feel, especially the summer, and you're like, you know, there's sand and gravel everywhere. And it's pretty cool.
Well, way back when I was about 5 or 6, before I got taken out to res, I was only 7 years old, 8, somewhere around there. There was this bad storm that was coming to Dupree, in the little small town of Dupree. And for some reason, my grandma, my uncle, my grandma, all of us jumped in a truck just to go check out the storm. Then we seen this saucer like spacecraft, just a round circle, whatever you want to call it, just hover above us.
Fucking A.
Really?
How old were you?
I was like 5 or 6. It like hovered over us, and we didn't know what that was, but it disappeared after, like, it was just
kind of.
It was there and it
wasn't.
Yeah, it was there and it wasn't there, but it was there, but it just disappeared. That's what got me interested in aliens after that.
See, I don't think I've necessarily ever seen like a saucer craft. The one that I've seen, it's kind of a crazy story. So I used to live in North Salt Lake, a place in Utah, and I worked graveyards for Subway there. So I worked from 10 p.m. at night until 7 in the morning. Yeah. And then some days I got off at 6. But in the winter time, you know, it stays darker for longer. So I walked everywhere I went. I didn't get my license until I was 23, right. Like almost 24. So I pretty much walked everywhere. I always had to be within walking distance of work, yeah. Which is why I worked at Subway for so long. And I was walking home after my shift one morning, and it was a crisp morning, no clouds in the sky. You know, it was just barely light enough to have that small blue glow at the yeah. beginning of your sunrise. That dim blue glow. And I was walk home just kind of listening to music and staring at the sky. And through a group of trees, so because it was wintertime, the trees were just branches. You can see through the trees. And I was looking through the trees as I was passing the road, at a four-way stop, and I thought immediately it was a satellite. I just saw something moving. It was super bright. I was like, oh, North Star. Then I noticed it kind of moved, and I was like, oh, satellite. And then it, like, instantly my brain went, it's moving too much for, it's not a satellite. Yeah. Like, my brain knew already. And I stopped, and I backed up in the middle of the road, and I watched this fucking thing. And I actually watched it move out of the middle of the tree line. Yeah. Like, and it moved, I don't want to say directly above me, but just within like a 45-degree angle. And it went up and over the main Highway 89 in North Salt Lake, and I shit you not, it just disappeared into the blackness of the mountains. Man. It didn't make a sound, and all it was a giant ball of light.
Did you freak out?
No, it was kind of a weird thing. Honestly, it really didn't. It was an odd sensation because when I saw it and I saw it move, and when I saw it get to a 45-degree angle, like, knew it wasn't a star, it wasn't a comet. Like, my brain just knew, like, that's something different. And I thought to myself, I remember forever thinking to myself, what if there's an actual being up there? Like, what would it be like? And because I believe in this shit, you know, there's no way we're the only beings in the universe. There's no fucking way. It's facts that we don't know shit.
I know there's I know there's a God and what heaven and hell, but I don't really believe in that, but I like wonder who created the aliens. Right. Like, where did they come from?
Yeah, exactly. Where did life itself originate? Like,
where did everything originate from? Because you look at all these tribes and all these like cultures from way back then. They all had spaceships and spacemen coming down from them in their drawings.
Yeah, man, and those bags that every culture around the world carries around. Everyone.
But the only thing that mystifies me is how did the pyramids become?
Right, that's a good one.
Yeah, the pyramids, as simple as they all have the triangle shape. Mm-hmm. How did they become like that?
Well, and have you done any research or looking up on all the different types of pyramids around the world? And there's a belief that the number one largest pyramid in the whole world, they believe, is located in Antarctica.
Really?
I'm dead serious. Second one is located in a province in China. Uh, I think it starts with a B. I can't remember what it is, but it doesn't. The pyramid has been grown over.
Yeah.
It looks like a giant fucking mountain, but it's perfectly angled, and that's when people figured out, oh my god, this is like the Pyramid of Light. It's super, it's one of the most ancient temples, and it is in such a place where the Chinese government will not allow them to excavate it.
Yeah.
Or go, any archaeologist go and discover it, because it could potentially fucking rewrite human history. And I don't know what the people in power's problem is about rewriting human history, but they have a huge fucking problem doing it.
Well, the government silenced everybody, or silenced people, so they won't tell them the truth. But what are they hiding?
Right? It's like, what the fuck? And it's all for control, but it makes you think too, like, that stuff is potentially happening, and like, do you ever just like sit and look at your hand and move it and then just go like, this is me?
Yeah.
Like, what makes this me? How is this real?
Yeah.
Like, just contemplating existence, and like, it's crazy to think about how humans even do exist. It's like a quadrillion million chances to 1.
Well, some people, one of my friends was telling me we're test tube babies from the aliens. We're supposed to be a higher beings, and now we got planted on Earth, and all that was from the aliens.
So that's the story of the Anunnaki and the old Sumerian texts. And what that is, there was, I believe, 32 stone tablets. It could be more. But
Yeah.
they were stone tablets that were chiseled out in cuneiform. Cuneiform is the most ancient form of known writing.
Yeah.
And these tablets, after being transcribed, not only describe the story or the epic of Gilgamesh and the Sumerian king, but human creation, and how the Anunnaki came down and bioengineered genetic, transformed genetic apes and primates that were already here into what we are, blended them with their DNA.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot, or pretty much every religious text in the whole world still says today that we were created in the image of the Creator.
Yeah.
Because the Anunnaki look a lot like us.
Yep.
And, I think that's where our differences in intellect come in. So, like, I was thinking about this today, man. Our humans' ability and understanding to do what we do is phenomenal. I mean, think about the dinosaurs, right? Okay, the dinosaurs lived for millions of years.
Yeah.
Okay, and the dinosaurs never fucking made computers. The dinosaurs never went to space. The dinosaurs didn't make mega structures and buildings, at least not to our fucking knowledge. But they lived for millions of years. Like, humans, they believe, have only been around for about 400,000 years at the most. And, that's not even the current versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
That's primitive humans. Within a fraction of that time, we have taken over the world and grown to such... There's no other being on the planet that does the things that we do in building our habitat and our social hierarchy and how we function on the planet and the resources that we use and the things that we create and explore. Like, there was a thing I was telling you about earlier, how there's a 98% chance that octopuses didn't originate on Earth.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
And octopuses are also millions and millions of years old. The only reason why they're haven't taken over the world like we have is because they only have a 4 to 5 year lifespan. If octopuses could live for 50 years, I think we'd be genuinely fucked.
Yes, we would.
But it's crazy to think that if an ocean planet and some far-off solar system where these octopuses may have originated from, say this is an ocean world, where there is no land. You know, how is an intelligent species going to do what we do? How are they going to build buildings? How is a water world with super smart, intelligent octopuses going to make a fucking computer? How are they going to manipulate metal? Like, how are they going to make knives for the sole purpose of tools? And not even for fucking war, but just for good shit. You know,
what about the story of Atlantis?
Well, that too. So, I've done a lot of stuff, a lot of looking at Atlantis, and very, very interested in that too. And Atlantis to me could be one of three places. Either right there in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean between what would be like Newfoundland and, say, Ireland or whatever island is up there. There's a ridge. It's like a mid-Atlantic ridge that they know for a fact used to be above water because of all the samples that they've taken from the ocean floor there. They know it's been above water before. And due to the stories and the trade routes and the fact that the Egyptians knew more about the Atlanteans than apparently anybody else, because that's where most of the stories come from, it originated with, what we know is Plato.
Yeah.
Plato got it from the Egyptians, and the Egyptians were heavily involved with Atlanteans themselves. And
those guys in Atlantis were like way ahead of their time, though.
Way ahead, like way ahead. It's crazy to imagine what kind of society they possibly had. And people sit there and think, well, like, it's nothing compared to what we have today.
Yeah.
You know, all we have megas, steel structures and stuff. Well, even stainless steel will decay eventually.
Yeah.
All of our, fuck, dude, glass just it goes straight back to sand and dust.
Yeah.
You know, even all of our buildings now, given another 1,000, 2, 3, 4,000 years, that shit's just that rust is gonna go away. The planet is gonna absorb it and reuse it. There's no way that what we have now is gonna last forever, or even last 5,000 years.
I don't get this. Alright, I'm not trying to get into religion or anything, but if there was a God, then why is he going to destroy the planet if we're still surviving? Like, because in the Bible it said it flooded the earth, now they're saying it's fire. I'm like, why is he going to destroy us? I mean, what did we do so wrong? That's what I don't get sometimes. And it trips I'm not trying to get too religious and everything, but it just bugs. It trips me out. Like, how can a creator be so mean and kill his own people? Or whatever you want to call us.
Well, the story goes, the reason why the flood happened to begin with was because the Nephilim had been created.
Yeah.
Now, angels bred with the women on earth and created the Nephilim, which were a giant race of beings that were half angel and half human, which was an abomination. And it fucking pissed God off to no end.
Yeah.
And so he told the select people who he knew would be good for the future, you know, save yourselves, tell fucking Noah, build your ark, and just warn the world, like, this shit's gonna happen. And, there's a scientific theory, okay, no, I lied. I'm gonna bullshit you, it's not scientific, it's science fiction theory that makes sense to me about why the flood happened to begin with. And I actually heard it originate in the series of Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
That the flood was a real thing, and that it not necessarily was God who did it, but it was beings who had fucked up and made shit on the planet that they didn't mean to make, or, you know, they literally fucked up, you know, like, think of humans that
made errors.
That tried to make what are they called? When they fuse them together, they fuse
atoms.
When they fuse like animals and shit together, what's that called? Is that an alchemy term? Somebody's screaming it right now. But yeah, guys, it's that one. That term.
Half breeds?
No.
Mixed breeds? Half animal? Cat, dog?
No, not like that. It's a crazy weird name.
You make me want to think it.
Well, here, hold on.
Let's Google this.
Mixing animals together by alchemy. Anthropomorphic. No, it's not that. It's homunculus.
Homunculus?
I believe.
So what you're telling me is they made mistakes and they destroyed it and decided to rewrite and they created just us?
Chimera is what it's called. I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody. Like, I be just told, don't click away. This conversation's still good. But they're called chimeras, and chimeras literally like the anime definition of using alchemy to form together things that aren't supposed to be together. And so that's the theory, is that these beings had made chimeras that they were fucking couldn't let live.
Yeah.
And so they went and they actually took a solar object like an asteroid and purposely flung it at Earth to start over.
I see.
And
kind of like we made a mistake and now we're gonna redo it again.
yeah, that's exactly what the theory is anyways, and a lot of that makes sense.
Yeah.
I honestly think that humans have been around for a really long time, and way more than 13,000 years. Way more. Like, there's a place called Gobli Tepli.
What the heck's that?
Is it Gobli Tepli? Gobi Tepli? No. Gobli Tepli? It still won't come up because I can't. But anyways, it's a super ancient site that's been dated to have been buried at 13,000 years ago.
Really?
Which, yeah, it was literally buried.
Who buried it?
Nobody knows.
Dang. What is Stonehenge then?
Gobekli Tepe. That's, okay, so it's this place here. And it's a megalithic stone temple. Like, all this shit was buried 13,000 years ago. And it was a super, basically, advanced trading post.
Really?
Founded in, 10,000 years ago. Abandoned 8 to 9,000 years ago.
That's crazy, man.
And, yeah, they discovered it in 1963, and it literally rewrote human history.
Bam.
It's one of those discoveries that rewrote textbooks. And it's crazy to think, like, that was, people were building fucking cities back then and shit. If you think about, as I was saying before, how some animals, like, their resources, how if you leave an octopus or a dinosaur, sure, are they going to make nests and stuff? Absolutely. Could they change their environment to a degree? Absolutely. But no other species manipulates their environment as much as we do. And what if our ancestors were more like regular animals? Like, I think there's something weird about us humans that make us more technologically inept.
Yep.
That, where we can build computers, not all of us can do it, but even the dumbest of us knows how to fucking use one.
Yep.
And so I think the reason why the technology is so profound in ancient times and we still can't figure it out is because humans had figured out a way to, as I told you earlier, there's two different ways.
Yeah.
There's the animal way and the machine way.
Yeah.
And I think our ancestors had found a way to make evolution favor the connection with nature. And the things that we view as impossible or science fiction, like telepathy or moving shit with your mind, is really there. And it was genuinely a part of nature that we used to be more plugged into it. But for some reason, this iteration of our existence is dwelling on technology, and we're flowing away from nature, and people think that we should merge with machines. And yeah, sure, can we do amazing fucking things? Absolutely. But we lose the knowledge of how to communicate with our environment and the universe. And
See, if we get smarter machines and we're supposed to merge with them, my question is AI is going to take over already created a long time ago?
right?
Like,
Are we products of an AI?
yeah, that's what I want to know. Are we products of an AI, or did they create us and to make us think that they were like, we're just creating them?
Because
What if we're-
simulation theory of would you say an AI itself would have to have created the simulation, or a super intelligent being of physical origin?
I think the AI created us in their simulation to make us think we're creating AI, but in fact, we're just pleasing them.
So like for entertainment?
Yeah, for
Or
entertainment
is there
purposes.
an actual purpose?
Yeah, like if that's the case, then what's our actual purpose with the AI? That's what I want to know.
That's a good theory to ponder on, man. Absolutely.
Because you gotta think, man, if the AI was like created, if a super being created us, you gotta think who created that super being, and if that super being's the AI, then maybe we're just stumbling onto stuff that the mistakes from back then is
Reprogram?
repeating itself.
So like, are you saying that maybe our existence is a simulation, a program running in which every possible outcome
Yeah.
is replicated?
Yeah. What if we're repeating the same, not the same mistakes, but we're repeating what the people back then did, and so they wiped them out. So we're just stumbling onto some of this. That's what I want to know, if we're repeating the same course again. Makes me wonder.
It's a very good question, because everybody says history repeats itself, and granted,
Yeah.
it has absolutely been proven to repeat itself. And not only that, it's for some reason it's human nature to repeat the mistakes of the past ancestors.
What if we're like repeating it, but we're not going to make the same mistakes? We're just repeating what they did, but we do a different outcome, sort of like.
Like for example, this simulation is based on technology versus based on nature.
Yeah. Or like, what if nature, like vice versa? I mean, it could be anything, but if you ever think about it, what if it's like that? Like, just, I don't know, that's what I think about sometimes.
That's good to think about, man.
I mean, I don't get too deep or anything. It's just, I do think about it, like, what if we're repeating the same stuff that the people back then did, but we're onto a new path.
Well, I got the most wild question to ask you. And I know you said you weren't trying to get deep, but it's about to go down, motherfucker. What do you think happens after you die? Well, do you think that there will be an energy, a being of yourself that is still conscious and aware of your death and experiences what you would define as an afterlife?
I think when we die, we get unplugged from the simulation that we're in, right? Like, whatever we call it, but I think we get unplugged and we're recycled and we come back as a whole different being. That's what I think.
So, do you think, when you say unplugged, do you mean like just you're a piece of program information on a microchip that gets moved and reprocessed? Or are you like a being like the Matrix who has been plugged into a simulation? Like, do you think that you're a physical being outside of the simulation? Or is your whole fucking existence just ones and zeros of electricity in a program?
All three, I think. Honestly, I think it's what you just said.
Well, which one though? They're a little bit different.
Probably the simulation where you get unplugged and recycled into a whole different being.
The one that's just where you actually have a physical body somewhere,
Yeah.
and that physical body is plugged into a simulation.
Yeah, what if they recycle you and they throw you back into the world, but you come back as somebody else? Like reincarnation or whatever you want to call it.
That's the
there's-
only religious thing that ever made sense to me.
Because you got to realize some of these kids that are born remember lives they had in the past that they cannot possibly know about that person's existence.
Yeah, there is a lot of those in the world. There are people that, knew locations of things that they couldn't possibly have known.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens to us. We get recycled back into something else.
So, speaking of crazy shit and sidekicks in past lives, you know how I just introduced you to another YouTube channel called The Y-Files?
Yeah.
Well, recently, just within the last 6 months, there was an episode on the CIA, the government, they release top secret documents after years and years. 50, 60 years goes by. They declassify documents and they put them out in the public because that's what's supposed to happen. Well, the CIA declassified over 12,000 documents on psychic programs that they were studying, mostly for remote viewing.
Really?
Which is when a person can project their consciousness to a faraway location, and sometimes even faraway times. And so the CIA the government genuinely very much takes psychics seriously.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy to think about because they really, really do. And there's a very, very in-depth episode on the Y-Files about this program and all 12,000 documents that were declassified and why, and what's still missing from the reports and blacked out. It's absolutely worth the watch, but it's crazy to think about because it throws another factor into our existence.
Yeah.
Like, is that shit real? And if it is real, then fuck, man, like it throws a whole new wrench in everything.
Yeah.
Like you almost want it to be fake because it's more explainable that way. It simplifies everything. But if someone can genuinely fucking project themselves, like it still leaves the question of like what is your consciousness made of? Like how the fuck are you aware? Like what about your energy is still no, like, how do you look at yourself and go, this is me? And then if you don't have a body, can you still go, this is me? Like,
yeah.
That's what boggles my mind, and I've always been trying to figure out.
Kind of like astral projection. Sort of.
Astral projection is, I think, more having to do with when you sleep. But when remote viewing, so one of the government programs was they tried to remote view to Mars. And there was actually a guy, I can't remember his name, but astoundingly, he was right 26% of the time, which is outstanding statistics for what this field is. It's out fucking standing. And they tried to, Mars was one location, but his main project was the moon. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
His main project was the moon. And how they had him project the edge of a crater, and he walked up to a structure and peered through, and the beings inside the structure were also psychic beings and saw him even though he was remote view projecting himself from Earth.
That's crazy. It ain't crazy, but it's amazing.
Right? So like if you think about it, if that's real and that story really happened, then it makes existence even more motherfucking mind-blowingly difficult to figure out.
Yeah.
Because, like, you can't simplify that part with the program.
Yeah.
Like, and it also brings up more questions about human evolution. Like, are these things that are new? Or is this old shit that we used to be able to do and something or somebody unplugged us? There's a book, I can't remember, I promise this book exists. If somebody even Googles the first sentence that I'm about to fucking say, it'll pull up the book that you can read about it. Fuck. Oh no, I lost my mind. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, I got back on track. It's a book written about the theory of how only like 10% of our DNA, like 90% of our DNA
Yeah.
is junk DNA, and they say that's fucking bullshit. That the genetic tampering that actually happened many, many millennia ago, many millions of years ago, was actually these super intelligent, multidimensional beings that genetically unplugged our DNA for generations to come because we got far too out of control with what we were able to do, like manipulating matter and the universe and time, and we were in danger of destroying the fucking universe, and so they unplugged us, unplugged our DNA, and stuck us on a fucking distant zoo planet, out in the middle of nowhere, where we're in the middle of an Oort cloud, and most likely we'll never be able to navigate out of that Oort cloud until we can actually teleport with thought out of it.
So what do you think about the CERN project?
Where they
Where they're making...
they shot particles around a
what do you think
17-mile
about that?
loop. A lot of people think like maybe CERN is the reason why the Mandela effect is so prominent, and we have different memories, and that when CERN activates, that it knocks us through the multiverse and just kind of spirals us into a random one.
You think they have the power to destroy us?
I don't think that CERN will be our problem. I think CERN, I think CERN might give us the answers we're afraid to know. There's just a small possibility. The fact that CERN has helped us discover what's called the Higgs Boson particle.
Yeah.
And it's a particle they have observed that literally blinks in and out of existence.
Really?
I'm dead fucking serious. It is a particle that blinks in and out of existence, and they are basically saying like how the Big Bang. I'll show you the clip, and if I can find it, it'll be in the description. If I can find the link to this specific topic in this conversation, about the Higgs boson particle, check the description. If it's not there, I'm sorry. If it's there, you're welcome. But it's the story and documentary of how they discovered this particle actually blips fucking in and out of existence, and it's unexplainable, and it's mind-blowing, and it explains a little bit how like things can happen beyond our physical perception.
Yeah.
So like what's crazy is I've had quite a few experience where I would classify them as paranormal or absolutely unexplainable. Like I've literally had a door slam open in the middle of the night. I was at the end of a long bathroom. It was in between 2 and 3 in the morning, and I just had to get up and go pee. And to block the light out from my, because my daughter's mom was sleeping in the bedroom, to block the light out, I just kind of flung the door closed so that I'm not trying to latch it, just whatever, I gotta go pee, close the light. And halfway going pee, the fucking door went BOOM! And it flew open so hard that it almost put a hole through, like the doorknob almost put a hole through the wall. And I'm literally at the end of the bathroom with my dick in my hand, halfway through a piss, and I just freeze. And the whole house gets woken up. Her grandma is in the room right there next to us. She wakes up across the hall. Her mom is sleeping downstairs in the basement and wakes up and comes upstairs. And I'm literally just standing in the fucking bathroom shaking, and as everybody comes to the bathroom door, all of our cats get in a brutal fight.
Damn.
And it is just nuts. And like that actually happened. That was real.
Yeah.
Like that fucking door flew open so hard with absolutely nothing I could see behind it. Nothing I could see. But something had to have made it happen. Some sort of anomaly. Something existed to the point where it was able to do that. Now, what was it that existed? Was it a ghost? Was it a fourth, fifth dimensional being? Was it something that you know, like, I've been through these experiences, but then I still question existence. I question, you know, people say, well, that must have been a ghost. Well, what if it wasn't? What if it was this crazy fucking being that they believe exists that feeds off of the emotion of fear?
Yeah.
They believe that there are beings out there that literally exist to feed off the resource of emotion in every living being. And that there are beings that specifically thrive on the emotion of fear. And that emotion emitted genuinely sustains their existence like food does for us.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's something like that. And it's not any, like, maybe I will just die and it'll be black fucking nothingness and I won't know that I'm dead or remember I've ever had a life and I won't exist again after that. But my emotion in this moment is real. That the electricity that I give off and that chemical pheromone my brain has put out is very real at that moment. You know, that fear is real, but it doesn't necessarily make heaven and hell or a soul afterward real.
Yeah. See, whether anybody believes in life after death or whatever, but how do you explain spirits or ghosts? Like, what do you call those things? That's what I want to know. Is like, what are those? Are they just like what they call it? Just a repeat in time of what they used to do back when they were alive, or what are they?
Like a soul's glitch stuck on repeat.
Yeah.
Or maybe they are third dimensional or second dimensional beings.
That's what I want to know. Is what those crazy things are. Cause you go on YouTube, you look up paranormal stuff. There's all kinds of videos on them, and some of them you gotta watch out they're fake, and some are real. So you gotta determine which one's which. And some people do make a lot of money off that stuff, and some people act like they see a ghost, but it's really there's nothing there. But
right.
That's what I don't get. I go through some of the videos. I make sure it's real, and some of it's real and some of it's fake. But I want to know what those things are. Like, who created those?
Right. How does it make you feel? Like, am I the only one that thinks about this to the point of borderline insanity?
No,
like,
the way you talk about all dimensional beings and everything. I have a friend that's kind of like you, but he believes in aliens, and I listened to his point of view, and he told us that, well, I don't know, this is his point of view, that when we die, we're going to go up to heaven, we'll get 72, like, slaves or robots, sex slaves, which is really far out. I don't believe in, don't listen to him, but he talks about aliens, and he talks about spaceships, UFOs, and makes me wonder what those, like, what are they? Are they watchers over us? Are they watching us? Are they, like, making sure we're doing what we're supposed to? And, like, are we just test tube babies for them? Or, I don't know, that's what I want to know.
There's a crazy theory out there that's completely opposite.
Yeah.
And it's that there is we come from a civilization that's actually in our hollow earth. And the UFOs could be two different things. They're probes from this hollow earth to see how bad we're fucking up the outside.
Yeah.
Or that damn it. The other theory that I heard about, the probes were had to do with something like vibrating frequency from like their point of existence into another point of existence, and that's kind of like a probe, and it could most definitely be from a different point in time.
Yeah.
But the aliens, like none of the UFOs flying around are actually from extraterrestrial origins, but they're actually right under here and home. That's a crazy thing to think about, because, like, I honestly would not be surprised if we had a hollow Earth, and if somehow the North Pole and South Pole, because Antarctica, all 12 major nations in the world have signed a fucking treaty that Antarctica will never be settled or claimed or fought over.
That's crazy.
It's fucking wild. You know, people have, oh my god, will fight over 50 fucking cents and murder people on countless fucking things over religion, have agreed, well, we won't touch Antarctica.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? But what if, like, there's openings and the middle of the earth gets their fucking light, and why the reason why the stories say there is twilight style or twilight luminosity in the earth is because there are fucking giant reflectors everywhere, and that sucks the sun from the North and South Pole into the inner earth like a giant mirror reflection.
Yeah.
You know, like, what if, and that's what heats everything, and it would honestly be enough to grow food. It would be enough to grow forests. I mean, you can literally grow shit off of reflected light because it's just bouncing and it's not taking away from it.
True.
So yeah, there's this crazy theory that maybe there's these crazy beings at the center of the earth that, you know, either maybe helped create us and never left, or maybe we materialized from, or just something crazy. But it's a wild thing to think about and consider, because maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe there is aliens in other places,
Well, they say they're
and maybe
building.
they're fucking pissed off at us humans, and they don't want to deal with us. But all these spaceships are them going to visit the good guys that they've been friends with forever inside the planet.
Well, they did say they're building cities underneath us. What if those are the real people they created?
Well, do you know about the Vatican, right?
The Vatican,
The
like
Vatican.
Rome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is 53 square miles of underground storage that houses 99% of the world's historical documents.
Why did it need that much?
It's like literally human history. It tells the
Damn.
truth of thousands and thousands of years. And what's crazy is you're not allowed to read it until it's been at least a minimum of 70 or 75 years old. And that's, you know, like, just the youngest thing. They have, seriously, like 53 miles of catacombs in the Vatican. And the thing about the Vatican is it's its own country. It's its own entity.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, like, you know how, like, we're South Dakota, state of
Yeah.
South Dakota. The Vatican is the Vatican.
Really?
It is separate from Rome. Separate from Italy. It is the Vatican.
Maybe they know the truth of us.
I wouldn't doubt it. Have you
I
ever
would
heard
doubt-
of the chronosphere?
Uh-uh.
It's an object that's supposed to be somewhat of a time machine.
Yeah.
It actually lets you see at any point in time, whether it's past or future, but because time is everything always exists all at once. You know, that thought blows my mind, but they say it all the time. The past, present, and future all exist at once, and everything is always happening all at once everywhere. And that, just to try to wrap my fucking brain around that is damn near impossible. Like, I can say maybe I can feel like I got it, but there's no way.
Yeah.
But the chronosphere is supposed to let you slide back and forth on that scale to see certain points in time.
I would love to get on that and see what happens.
It's supposedly this device that is locked inside the catacombs of the Vatican.
Well, I say we just go bust there and check it out.
That would be dope. Dude, what I would give to go explore even a handful of those documents is fucking crazy.
I would love to do it too. Well, heck, if all of us could come together and go do it, they can't stop all of us from storming the gates.
We might, well, you know, they would say that, but then we would lose so much.
I know, I was just kidding.
No, you're right, though. Like, if we are actually to fucking get up and go, they couldn't stop us from going to look.
They can't.
But they could if they destroyed them so that they couldn't
Yeah.
get in the hands of other people.
Well, how about that one crazy head that everybody was going to bust into Area 51, and they said that they can't stop all of us if we all run in there, but that never happened. Cause they
Right,
stopped at the
everybody
gates.
RSVP'd to
Yeah,
go raid
yeah.
Area 51 a few years ago.
Yeah.
And the famous dude who did the Naruto run. Did you see that? Oh yeah, dude, he did the Naruto run across the desert right on live news. It was fucking hilarious.
But yeah, that's what I said. Why don't we just go storm the gates of the Vatican? They can't stop all of us. But you're right. They might destroy everything, and we'll never know what really happened in the past and everything.
Well, think about this factor. Say, what if somehow demons are real beings? And what if demons, like, are ancient beings that went the way of nature and can control things the way that I had described to you earlier?
Yeah.
What if that part exists, and that's why they're watching over the Vatican? What kind of damage could those beings do? Or could they reset reality into, like, what if we done that before?
Yeah.
What if we got the idea to go storm the Vatican and we did that, but these demons... Hey everybody, unfortunately the battery on the camera had died. We had finished our conversation off about talking about what if demons had reset reality after we had gotten the idea to storm the Vatican. Come back for part 2. We did lose about 15 minutes of footage or so on a really good finish up conversation, and so if you would like to see that, please subscribe and come back for part 2. Anyways, we're going to pick this up on the next round. Thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you. Have an awesome night. And George, thank you so much for coming on, man.
You're
it
welcome.
was awesome to talk to you. Sorry about the camera malfunctions,
It's okay.
but I loved what you had to say, and thank you for letting me talk your ear off. It was genuinely an honor to have you as a guest on my podcast.
Oh, I just go with the flow. I liked it.
Heck yeah, I'm glad that you did. And I look forward to talking to you on episode 2.
Let's do this.
Hell yeah, man. Thank
Alright.
you very much.
Welcome.
And thank you guys very much. As always, from me to you, be blithesome and live life with a smile. Love you guys. Bye.